Welcome to AniMove 2020 and our e-learning module, Legal and Ethical Use of Animal Tracking Data. In this module, we are looking forward to give you an insight into legal and ethical issues of animal tracking data and research data management. My colleague, Gabriel Schneider, and I are from the team Open Science of the Communication, Information and Media Center at the University of Konstanz and are part of the MoveBank Project 2.0 team. First of all, I will address legal issues that you should generally consider when dealing with research data. Next, I will give you an overview of licenses and their use and introduce you to the licenses relevant to animal tracking data in MoveBank. The second part of this presentation will focus on the ethical issues involved in handling animal tracking data. I will also discuss the options MoveBank offers you to protect your data of endangered animal species. Finally, I will give you a summary of the relevant points of this presentation. First, why should you deal with questions of law and ethics at all? Well, working with research data, such as animal tracking data, may involve legal and ethical restrictions, and the disregard of which may have legal consequences for you or can be harmful to your scientific career. Therefore, it is very important that you first find out who the owner of your data is. This could be the creator, your research institution, or the funder of your research. Since this presentation is aimed at international researchers, we are unfortunately unable to make a clear statement about who the owner of the data in your specific case and country is, or whether there is one at all. Therefore, our strong advice is that you take a look into the guidelines for data ownership, data use, or data stewardship, and/or contact your local advisor for legal issues at your specific research institution. In most countries, the data owner usually owns the copyright to his or her data. This ownership includes different possibilities. The owner of copyright can, for example, keep the sole ownership, sign ownership to someone else, for example, a journal publisher, or they can license their creation for the use by others. Licensing your data as a data owner is very important, as it defines a clear legal framework for other researchers to reuse your data. When licensing your data for others, you should consider different aspects. How the data should be attributed or cited. What kind of use is allowed or not allowed. How or if users may redistribute reused data. Ask yourself, is there a risk of data misuse, for example, if you choose an open license? And indirectly, considerations for quality control, since your chosen license can either allow or prohibit other researchers to help you control the correctness of your data. There are many different licenses for you to choose. The most popular in the field of research data management are licenses offered by the Creative Commons, in short CC, a non-profit organization. Creative Commons licenses are free to use, apply anywhere in the world, and are suitable for publicly downloadable data. Here you can see an overview over the possible components of a CC license. By means that an attribution must be given to the creator. And C stands for only non-commercial uses of the work are permitted. ND stands for no derivatives or adaptations of the work are permitted. SA means share alike. Adaptations may only be shared under the same license. And 0 means that the creators give up their copyright. As far as legally possible, this places the work in the public domain. As far as possible means here that some countries, like for example Germany, do not have the possibility in their law for creators to give up their copyright. However, also in these countries it is still possible to choose this license to underline that you will not demand your copyright when other people reuse your work. In MoveBank, there are 3 possible Creative Commons licenses for your uploaded MoveBank studies: CC0, CC BY, and CC BY non-commercial use. For MoveBank studies, we recommend the CC0 license, since it avoids unintended restrictions on future use of the data. The CC BY non-commercial use is not recommended, since the non-commercial use clause is only vaguely defined, and can thus create unwanted confusion of the appropriate use of your animal tracking data. MoveBank only offers this option for cases when it's required, for example due to the source of funding. In the MoveBank data repository, all datasets are licensed under the Creative Commons Zero license, because, as said before, it places the work as far as possible in the public domain, has as little legal restrictions as possible, and ensures that data will be available for future reuse. However, works published in the repository should still be cited as appropriate, following professional and ethical standards. Of course, there are, apart from legal restrictions, also other reasons to not share your animal tracking data freely under the Creative Commons Zero license. One reason is if misuse of animal tracking data is highly likely. Many commercial industries rely on knowledge of animal tracking data. For example, professional ecotourism operators are dependent on access to their target species to satisfy their customers. Commercial fishers can maximize fishing effort with improved knowledge of species distributions. And aqua or aquaculturists wish to track the presence of wild animals around their livestock. Thus, an ethical conflict between data sharing and protection of animals can arise for you. On the one hand, data sharing and communication are critical components of the scientific process, providing access to a wealth of knowledge that opens new ways of analysis. On the other hand, sharing data openly could increase the vulnerability of animals to disturbance through unintended data use by bad actors. For the ethical evaluation of sharing animal tracking data, Lennox et al. Proposed a guided evaluation process with key questions researchers should ask themselves before starting a tracking project. The first question is, if my focal species is listed as threatened or special concern by local or global agencies. Note that a single species can be threatened at one local, but be abandoned at another. If yes, does the legislation restrict sharing data? If the answer is no, is my species of high monetary value? Specify whether commercial or through illegal sale. If the legislation restricts sharing data, metadata should be protected and signal transmission encrypted. If the species is not of high monetary value, in most cases you can publish and share all data. If the species is of high monetary value, is the species also vulnerable to exploitation? If no, you can publish and share all data. If yes, is the species difficult to observe, and are individuals range restricted? Is the tracking hardware accessible, which means is the technology widely used, and is therefore access to receivers to detect tags easy? If one of these questions is answered with no, you can, again, publish and share all data. If one of these questions is answered with yes, metadata should be protected and signal transmission encrypted to limit the ability of poachers to identify individuals. Also, if one of these questions is answered with yes, the same protective organizational or technical measures should be applied as for other types of sensitive data, such as financial or personal data. If you come to the conclusion to restrict the sharing of your data, re-evaluate the whole process after 5 years. Some aspects may have changed, and your data might still be very useful for other researchers. To summarize, for data that might be vulnerable to direct interception by poachers using tracking technology, metadata should be protected and signal transmission encrypted to limit the ability for poachers to identify individuals. For species vulnerable to poaching by indirect interception of data in publications, databases, or maps, data can be embargoed, with an option to renew the embargo. However, as the authors of the corresponding paper of Lennox et al., we also believe that there are great benefits to share data and that whenever possible, data should be shared and communicated to stakeholders through establishing clear data agreements. Researchers with effective data management plans and journals or databases with clear rules for data embargoes will facilitate effective data sharing and increase the quality of scientific communication. If the evaluation of your animal tracking data reveals a potential risk for the involved animals, MoveBank offers you controlled access archival options. You can make your project publicly discoverable without showing any individual locations, define terms for specific use, completely prevent any data download, share your data only with individual collaborators, and/or restrict access to more recent data. Here you can see a screenshot of the options in MoveBank during the data upload process. Note that in this example, downloads have been restricted to collaborators only. In contrast to the general MoveBank website, the datasets in the MoveBank data repository are all licensed under CC0. Data published here is related to already published papers. Thus, the data doesn't contain live locations, and the results of the corresponding analysis are also, most of the time, freely accessible. Before you publish your data in the MoveBank data repository, again decide, based on a legal and ethical evaluation, whether you can publish the data here or not. For the legal evaluation, we recommend you to get in contact with the data owner, if it's not you, and your local legal advisor. Get in contact with MoveBank if you have any further ethical concerns or questions you cannot resolve on your own. The reuse of data is one of the main advantages of sharing data with other researchers. MoveBank wants to support you to easily reuse data in new analysis or meta-analysis through the choice of a free license. However, we strongly encourage you to always contact the owners of public data about your intended data reuse. Offer a co-authorship or other credit as appropriate for publications resulting from the data reuse. And collaborate and share your ideas about new uses of data. By following these simple rules, you ensure the continuation of data sharing by giving credit to all involved researchers. At the same time, if you share your data, you increase the possibility for more publications with your name on it. At the end of this video, I want to summarize the most important points for the legal and ethical use of animal tracking data. First, always inform yourself about the ownership of the data you use. If you need support, ask your local contact person for legal advice at your institution. Second, evaluate sharing options for your data from a legal and ethical standpoint. Third, license your data based on the evaluation. And last but not least, when reusing other researchers' data, follow academic and professional norms for acknowledgement, citation, and authorship to ensure the continuation of data sharing in the MoveBank community. Here you can find our general references of the present talk. And here the references of the images used in this video. This is the end of this presentation. We hope you could get some helpful insights into the legal and ethical use of animal tracking data. If you want to learn more about general research data management for animal tracking data and how MoveBank can help you with that, please check out our other presentation, which is also part of this year's digital AniMove. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions and/or remarks, please feel free to contact us. And enjoy the other presentations of AniMove 2020.